Question 1.1 consists of 6 finance questions designed to assess your understanding of hire purchase, interest, costing, and discounts. You are given an advertisement for a generator with different payment options. In question 111, you have to give 2 payment options for this generator. From the advertisement, we are given 3 payment options, that is cash, hire purchase, or online credit. Any 2 options will be accepted as correct. In question 112, you have to define hire purchase within the given context. Here, the given context is important, and the general definition of hire purchase won't get you the full marks. The definition of hire purchase in this context is a system where you pay for the generator in regular installments while using it, but only own the generator once you've paid the full price. In question 113, you are instructed to write down the interest rate if the generator was bought on hire purchase. The interest rate for the hire purchase option is 14.75%. In question 114, you are instructed to calculate the total cost of the generator using MobiCred. From the advertisement, the monthly installment is given as 1,006 Rand per month for a period of 12 months. So the total cost of the generator will be 1,006 Rand multiplied by 12 months, and this equals 12,072 Rand. In question 115, it is stated that a 12.1% discount is given on the cash price. You are instructed to calculate the amount of discount given if the generator is purchased for cash. From the advertisement, the cash price is given as 10,999 Rand. So the amount of discount given if the generator is purchased for cash is 10,999 Rand multiplied by 12.5 over 100, and this equals 1,374 Rand 88 cents. In question 116, you have to name the type of interest charged if the generator is bought on hire purchase. There are 2 types of interest in finance, that is simple interest and compound interest. When it comes to hire purchase agreements, the interest charged is simple interest, while bank loans and inflation is calculated using compound interest. So the type of interest charged on the generator if it's bought on hire purchase will be simple interest. Question 1.2 consists of 2 finance questions and 3 data handling questions. You are given a table that shows the prices of a school sports uniform with the percentage change in prices from 2021 to 2022. The first column lists the items, the second column lists the prices of the items in 2021, the third column lists the prices of the items in 2022, and the fourth column lists the percentage change in prices from 2021 to 2022. Note that negative values indicate that the price decreased, while positive values indicate that the price has increased. In question 121, you have to arrange in ascending order the percentage change in the price. Ascending order means that we have to arrange the change in price from the lowest value to the highest value. The lowest value in this column is negative 17.4 and the highest value is 122.2. So the arrangement of the price in ascending order will look like this. In question 122, you have to identify the third most expensive item in 2022. From the list of prices in 2022, the item that is the third most expensive was the sports skirt. In question 123, you are instructed to calculate the difference in the price of a cap bought in 2022 compared to 2021. From the table, the price of a cap in 2022 was 171 Rand, and the price of a cap in 2021 was 89 Rand 95 cents. The difference between these prices is 81 Rand 5 cents. In question 124, you have to determine the total cost of a school sports uniform in 2021. The total cost of a school sport uniform in 2021 is the sum of the values in this column. This equals 1,224 Rand 85 cents. In question 125, you have to name one other item not listed in the table that John's daughter might need in order to play for the school's hockey team. One other item that is not listed here that John's daughter might need in order to play hockey is hockey shoes. Question 1.3 consists of 4 data handling questions designed to assess your understanding of line graphs. You are given a line graph that shows the official and expanded unemployment rates for 2021 for all the provinces in South Africa. Note that the expanded unemployment rate includes the statistics of unemployed persons not looking for employment or trying to become self-employed. The total labor force includes all those that are employable, including the unemployed. In question 131A, you have to write down the province with the highest expanded unemployment rate. From the graph, the province with the highest expanded unemployment rate is Eastern Cape. In question 131B, you have to write down the province with the smallest difference between the official unemployment rate and the expanded unemployment rate. The difference between the official unemployment rate and the expanded unemployment rate is the value you get when you subtract the values of these two categories. From the table, the province with the smallest difference between these two categories is the Western Cape. In question 132, you are instructed to determine the province that represents the modal official unemployment rate. From the table, the official unemployment rates for the provinces are these values. By looking at these numbers, we can see that there is no specific rate that repeats more than once. Therefore, in this case, there is no mode for the official unemployment rates because each province has a unique rate. Remember that the definition of mode of a dataset is the value in a dataset that repeats the most times. In question 133, it is stated that the total labor force for Free State was 918,000 in 2021. You are instructed to calculate the number of officially unemployed people in the Free State. From the table, the percentage of officially unemployed people in the Free State in 2021 is 35.6%. So the number of officially unemployed people in the Free State was 35.6 over 100 multiplied by the total labor force for the Free State of 918,000, and this equals 326,808. Question 2.1 consists of 5 finance questions designed to assess your understanding of invoice calculations. It is stated that Roadside Tours and Travel Agency made a booking at a guest house for 36 work colleagues to attend a conference in Upington. The guest house offers rooms with 2 beds and 4 beds for accommodation. Annexure A shows an invoice that Roadside Tours and Travel Agency received from the guest house. The total amount for accommodation and meals were paid for in advance. In question 211, you are instructed to write down the address of the guest house. From the invoice, the address of the guest house can be read off as 125 Bossy Street, Upington. In question 212, it is stated that the accommodation costs include 15% VAT. You are instructed to determine, excluding VAT, the price for a person per night in a 2-bedroom. The cost for a 2-bedroom accommodation is given as 900 Rand including VAT. The price including VAT is the actual price of the goods or services plus VAT charged on it. To find the price excluding VAT, we can use the following formula. The price excluding VAT equals the price including VAT divided by 1 plus the VAT rate. In this case, the VAT rate is 15%, which we can express as a decimal for the calculation, making it 0.15. Given that the price including VAT, 900 Rand, is the result of adding 15% VAT to the original price, we can rearrange the formula to find the original price before VAT was added. Substituting the price including VAT of 900 Rand and the VAT rate as a decimal of 0.15 into the formula will give us the price excluding VAT equal to 900 over 1 plus 0,15. This equation simplifies to the price excluding VAT equals 900 over 1,15. This will give us the price excluding VAT of 782 Rand 61 cents. In question 213, you are instructed to calculate the missing value C, the total cost for the 4-bedroom accommodation. The missing value C is the difference between the total cost of 75,040 Rand and the sum of the sub-costs for each item description. This gives us a cost of 34,000 Rand. In question 214, you have to determine in simplified form the ratio of the number of guests booked in the 2 bedrooms to the number of guests booked in the 4 bedrooms. From question 213, we know that the total cost for the 4-bedroom was calculated as 34,000 Rand for 2 nights. This means that the number of guests in the 4-bedroom accommodation is 34,000 divided by 2 nights, multiplied by the cost per night, and this equals 20 guests. The number of people in the 2-bedroom accommodation can be calculated by finding the difference between the total number of guests of 36 and the number of guests staying in the 4-bedroom accommodation of 20, and this equals 16 guests. So the ratio of 2-bedroom to 4-bedroom guests can be written as 16 to 20. Dividing both sides by 4, which is the highest common factor, will give us a simplified ratio of 4 to 5. In question 215, it is stated that 2 work colleagues who booked the 2-bedroom cancelled as follows. One cancelled at 11 o'clock while the other cancelled at 3 o'clock on the check-in date. Their meal costs will be fully refunded, while the accommodation costs will be refunded according to the conditions of the cancellation policy stated in Annexure A. The tour operator stated that the refund would be less than 2,500 Rand. You have to verify showing all calculations whether the statement is correct. The cost for 1 guest in a 2-bedroom accommodation is 2 nights multiplied by 900 Rand per night, and this equals 1,800 Rand. From the note given on Annexure A, we know that the check-in time is 2 o'clock. This means that 1 guest cancelled before the check-in time and 1 cancelled after the check-in time. For the guest that cancelled before the check-in time, according to the cancellation policy, there is a charge of 25% of the accommodation costs. This means that he or she will be refunded 75% of the cost of the accommodation. That is 100% of the cost of the accommodation minus 25% cancellation charge. So the refund for the guest will be 75 over 100 multiplied by 1,800, and this equals 1,350 Rand. Now for the guests that cancelled after the check-in time, according to the cancellation policy, there is a charge of 75% of the accommodation cost. This means that he or she will be refunded 25% of the cost of the accommodation. That is 100% of the cost of the accommodation minus 75% cancellation charge. So the refund of the guest will be 25 over 100 multiplied by 1,800, and this equals 450 Rand. The refund for the meals will be 4 lunches of 80 Rand plus 4 dinner meals of 90 Rand, which equals a total of 680 Rand. So the total refund will be the sum of all the refunded amounts. And this equals a total refund of 2,480 Rand. Since 2,480 Rand is less than the stated amount of 2,500 Rand, we can verify that the statement is correct. Question 2.2 consists of 3 finance questions designed to assess your understanding of income, expenditure, profit, and interest. It is stated that Neil owns a panel beating business. He specializes in buying accident-damaged cars which he refurbishes, meaning that he repairs, repaints, and valets the vehicles for resale. We are given the different costs incurred to refurbish an accident-damaged 2019 model Renault Kwid bought for 50,000 Rand. In question 221, we have to calculate the total cost of buying and refurbishing the accident-damaged car. The total cost of buying and refurbishing this car will be the sum of the purchase price of 50,000 Rand and the total cost of refurbishing the car. This will equal a total cost of 76,132 Rand 50 cents. In question 222, it is stated that Neil normally sells the refurbished car for 65% of the cost price of a brand new similar model car. The cost price of a brand new similar model car is 145,900 Rand. Neil stated that he will make a profit of more than 20,000 Rand when he sells the refurbished car. You are instructed to verify showing all calculations whether his statement is valid. Since he sells a refurbished car for 65% of the cost price of a new model car of 145,900 Rand, the selling price of the refurbished car is 65 over 100 multiplied by 145,900 Rand, and this equals 94,835 Rand. The profit made for selling the refurbished car will be the difference between the selling price of 94,835 Rand and the total cost to purchase the car and refurbish it, which was calculated in question 221 of 76,132 Rand 50 cents. This equals a profit of 18,702 Rand 50 cents. Since this is less than the stated 20,000 Rand, we can conclude that his statement is invalid. In question 223, it is stated that Neil invests 15,000 Rand of the total profit in a bank which offers him the following interest rates: 6.25% interest compounded yearly for the first year and an interest rate of 6.95% compounded yearly for the second year. You are instructed to calculate the total interest that Neil's investment would earn at the end of the second year. At the end of the first year, the interest earned will be the investment amount of 15,000 Rand multiplied by the interest rate of 6.25 over 100, and this equals an interest earned of 937 Rand 50 cents. At the end of the first year, the investment amount in the bank will be the sum of the original investment of 15,000 Rand and the interest that was earned over the first year of 937 Rand 50 cents. And this equals a new principal amount of 15,937 Rand 50 cents. Now, at the end of the second year, the interest earned will be the new principal amount of 15,937 Rand 50 cents multiplied by the interest rate of 6.95 over 100, and this equals an interest amount at the end of the second year of 1,107 Rand 66 cents. At the end of the second year, the investment amount in the bank will be the sum of the investment amount at the beginning of the second year of 15,937 Rand 50 cents and the interest that was earned over the second year of 1,107 Rand 66 cents. This equals an investment amount after the second year of 17,045 Rand 16 cents. So the interest earned over the 2 years is the difference between the final amount in the bank of 17,045 Rand and 16 cents and the original investment of 15,000 Rand. And this equals 2,045 Rand 16 cents. Question 3.1 consists of 4 data handling questions and 1 probability question that were designed to assess your ability to interpret statistics in a table. You are given a table in Annexure B that shows the number of people employed at Motor Holdings in August 2020 and 2019. In August 2020, the company had 41 motor dealerships and a head office. In question 311, you have to write down the total number of semi-skilled workers employed by Motor Holdings during August 2020. From the table, we see that the total number of employees, including staff with disabilities for each category of employee, is given here. Note that these values are the totals for the year 2020 because when we sum up these values, it equals the total of August 2020. So the total number of semi-skilled workers employed by Motor Holdings during 2020 was 537. In question 312, you have to determine the difference in the total number of employees from August 2019 to August 2020. The total number of employees from August 2019 to August 2020 will be 2,163 minus 2,828, and this equals negative 665. Here, the negative sign tells us that there was a decrease in the total number of employees from 2019 to 2020. In question 313, you have to determine the number of staff with disabilities employed in 2020 as a percentage of all the employees in 2020. From the table in Annexure B, the number of staff with disabilities in 2020 was 34. And the total number of staff in 2020 was 2,163. So the percentage of staff with disabilities out of all the staff in 2020 is 34 divided by 2,163 multiplied by 100, and this equals 1,572%. In question 314, you have to calculate the average number of employees per dealership if 1,5% of the total number of employees worked at the head office in August 2020. In August 2020, the total number of people employed by Motor Holdings was 2,163. Of this amount, 1,5% worked at head office and the rest worked at the 41 dealerships. Since 1,5% of employees worked at the head office, the number of employees that worked at dealerships is 100% of the employees minus 1,5% of the employees at the head office, and this equals 98,5%. So 98,5% of employees worked at dealerships. So the total number of workers that worked at the 41 dealership is 98,5 over 100 multiplied by the total number of workers of 2,163, and this equals 2,130,555. Now the average number of workers per dealership is 2,130,555 divided by the 41 dealerships, and this equals an average number of workers per dealership of 51,9647. In question 315, you have to determine as a percentage rounded to 3 decimal places the probability of randomly choosing a colored female from the list of employees in August 2020. From the table, the total number of colored females employed in 2020 was 54 out of the total number of employees of 2,163. Now, the probability of randomly choosing a colored female from the list of employees in August 2020 is 54 over 2,163 multiplied by 100, and this equals a probability as a percentage of 2,497%. Question 3.2 consists of 4 data handling questions that were designed to assess your understanding of box and whisker plots. Annexure C shows in percentages the box and whisker plots of the unemployment rate for all the provinces in South Africa from 2019 to 2021. In question 3 to 1a, you have to determine the lower quartile for 2020. On Annexure C, this box and whisker plot represents the unemployment rate for 2020. This point of the box and whisker plot represents the lowest unemployment rate. This line represents the lower quartile or quartile 1. This line represents the median or quartile 2. This line represents the upper quartile or quartile 3. And this point represents the highest unemployment rate. So the lower quartile for 2020 can be read off the box and whisker plot as approximately 21%. In question 321b, you have to determine the 75th percentile for 2019. On Annexure C, this box and whisker plot represents the unemployment rates for 2019. This line on the box and whisker plot represents the 25th percentile, this line represents the 50th percentile, and this line represents the 75th percentile. So the 75th percentile for 2019 is approximately 28.2%. Note that any percentage above 28.5% but less than 29% will be acceptable. In question 321C, you have to determine the median for 2021. On Annexure C, this box and whisker plot represents the unemployment rates for 2021. This line represents the median for this year. So the median for 2021 can be read off the plot as approximately 31.5%. Note that any percentage between 30.5 and 32.5 is acceptable. In question 322, you have to give two reasons why it could be said that the unemployment rate was at its highest in 2021. One reason could be that the median for 2021 was the highest out of the 3 years. Another reason could be that the maximum value was the highest in 2021 compared to the other 2 years. Question 4.1 consists of 3 finance questions that were designed to assess your understanding of bank account fee structures. It is stated that Katlego is employed at a school by the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. He earns a salary of 4,000 Rand per month. He is presently using a Nedbank pay-as-you-use account but is thinking of changing to a Capitec Global One account. You are given a table that shows the transactions fees for the 2 banks. In question 411, you have to give one reason why the banks charge more for branch deposits than ATM deposits. One reason could be that the banks have to pay employees for working in the bank, while ATM are machines that does not get a wage. In question 412, you have to determine the difference in the cost of an external debit order using a Nedbank pay-as-you-use account and a Capitec Global One account. From the table, the cost of an external debit order using Nedbank is 5 Rand, while the cost of an external debit order for Capitec is 1.50 Rand. The difference in cost between these 2 bank accounts is 5 Rand minus 1.50 Rand, and this equals a difference of 3.50 Rand. In question 413, it is stated that Katlego had the following monthly transaction on his bank statement: 2 external debit orders, 1 cash withdrawal of 1,500 Rand at own bank ATM, 1 cash withdrawal of 450 Rand at another bank ATM, 1 send cash transaction of 1,500 Rand to his mother. At Capitec, the banking fees for the listed transactions are 45 Rand. Katlego stated that he would have saved 20.50 Rand on his bank fees if he banked at Capitec rather than Nedbank. You have to verify showing all calculations whether Katlego statement is valid. From table 3, for 1 external debit order at Nedbank, it costs 5 Rand. So for 2 debit orders, the cost will be 10 Rand. For a cash withdrawal at own bank ATM, the fee is 9 Rand per 1,000 Rand. Note that this phrase tells us that if we withdraw any amount less than a multiple of 1,000 Rand, we still have to pay the full 9 Rand as if it was a full 1,000 Rand. For a cash withdrawal of 1,500 Rand at own bank, we first have to round this value up to 2,000 Rand because of this condition. Then we have to divide this value of 2,000 Rand by 1,000 Rand, and this equals 2. Now multiplying the fee of 9 Rand by 2, and this equals a cost of 18 Rand. Next, for the cash withdrawal at other ATM, the fees is 11 Rand plus 2.30 Rand per 100 Rand or part thereof. As previously stated, this phrase tells us that if we withdraw any amount less than a multiple of 100 Rand, we will still pay the full 2.50 Rand as if it is a full 100 Rand. For cash withdrawal of 450 Rand at other bank ATM, we first have to round this value up to 500 Rand because of this condition. Then we divide this value of 500 Rand by 100 Rand, and this equals 5. Now multiplying this value by the variable of 2.50 Rand per 100 Rand, then adding 11 Rand will give us a cost of 22.50 Rand. Next, for the 1 send cash transaction of 1,500 Rand, the fee that we will be using is the send cash option from 1,001 Rand to 5,000 Rand. The fee for this transaction will be 15 Rand. Now the total cost of all these transactions will be the sum of the cost of these transactions, which equals 65 Rand 50 cents. Next, we have to find the difference between the net bank cost and the given Capitec banking cost of 45 Rand. This equals a difference of 20 Rand 50 cents. Since this amount equals the amount stated by Katlego, we have to conclude that his statement is correct. Question 4.2 consists of 3 finance questions designed to assess your understanding of personal income tax. It is stated that Katlego, who is 24 years old, has 2 jobs, one at the PYEI and the other at a retail store. He earned a combined annual taxable income of 87,329 Rand for the 2021-2022 tax year. Table 4 shows the personal income tax rates, tax rebates, and tax thresholds for 2021-2022. In question 4.2.1, you are instructed to calculate Katlego's annual tax payable for the 2021-2022 tax year. Since Katlego earned a taxable income between 0 and 216,200 Rand, he will have to pay 18% of each 1 Rand he earned. So his tax payable for the 2021-2022 tax year is 18 over 100 multiplied by his taxable income of 87,329 Rand, and this equals 15,719 Rand 22 cents. In question 4.2.2, you have to define the term tax rebate. A tax rebate is a discount SARS gives to taxpayers. In question 4.2.3, you have to show that the tax threshold for age 65 to age 74 in the table is correct. From the table of tax rebates, a person between the ages of 65 and 74 qualifies for a primary and secondary tax rebate. So the total rebate for a person between these ages is 15,714 Rand plus 8,613 Rand, and this equals a total rebate of 24,327 Rand. To determine the tax threshold for a person between the ages of 65 and 74 years, we divide this amount by the 18% in tax bracket 1. So 24,327 Rand divided by 18 over 100, and this equals 135,150 Rand. Question 4.3 consists of 2 data handling questions and 1 probability question that were designed to assess your understanding of pie charts. It is stated that Katlego moved into a rented flat. You are given 2 pie charts showing a comparison of his monthly budget with his parents' combined monthly budget. You are also given a key for the pie charts. In question 4.3.1, you have to name one other type of graph that could be used to display this data. One other type of graph that could be used to display this data is a compound bar graph. In question 4.3.2, you are instructed to calculate the missing value D in Katlego's monthly budget. D equals 100% minus the sum of the other values in the pie chart. This equals 15%. In question 4.3.3, you have to determine as a decimal the probability of randomly choosing an item in the parent's budget which is not savings. From Katlego's parents' chart, savings accounts for 15% of their budget. This means that 85% of the budget is not savings. This percentage as a decimal is 85 divided by 100, and this equals a probability of choosing an item which is not savings of 0.85. Question 5.1 is a mix of 6 finance, data handling, and probability questions designed to assess your understanding of bar graphs, international income, and expense. You are given a graph that shows the percentages of the gross value of the production of the main agricultural products in Brazil. One value B is omitted. The total gross value for 2020 is $110,322 million. In question 511, it is stated that the percentage gross value of production of bananas decreased from 2020 to 2021. You have to identify the agricultural product that had the largest increase from 2020 to 2021. On the bar graph, the products that increased from 2020 to 2021 were corn at 1,86, coffee beans at 0,41, and cottonseed of 2,19. So the largest increase came from cottonseed. In question 512, you have to determine the total amount in US dollars that coffee contributed in 2020. From the information given, the total gross value for 2020 was 110,322 million US dollars. And the total percentage that coffee contributed in 2020 was 8.92%. This means that the dollar value that coffee contributed in 2020 was 8.92 divided by 100 multiplied by 110,322 million, and this equals 9,840,722,400 US dollars. In question 513, you have to determine the probability of randomly choosing potatoes as an agricultural product from the data given. Since potatoes are not listed in the bar graph, the probability of randomly choosing potatoes as an agricultural product from the data given is 0%. In question 514, it is stated that the gross value for the production of soybeans was 32,201 billion US dollars in 2021. You have to determine in billions the amount for the production of corn in 2021. From the graph of 2021, the production of soybeans as a percentage is given as 25.98%. This equals a dollar value of 32,201 billion US dollars. So the total gross value for 2021 is 100 over 25.98 multiplied by 32,201 billion US dollars, and this equals 123,945 billion US dollars. Now the amount of corn as a percentage in 2021 is given as 11.91%. This as a dollar value is 11.91 divided by 100 multiplied by 123,945 billion US dollars, and this equals 14,761,8903 billion US dollars. In question 515, it is stated that the average percentage contribution for the 7 agricultural products was 11.15% in 2021. You have to determine the percentage contribution of bananas in 2021. The average or mean of a dataset equals the sum of the values in the dataset divided by the number of values in that dataset. So the equation for the average percentage contribution for the 7 agricultural products can be written as 11.15% equal to the sum of the 7 values of percentages in 2021 divided by the number of agricultural products of 7. Summing the values in the numerator will give us this simplified equation. Multiplying both sides of this equation will give us 7 times 11.15 equal to 7 times 73.99 plus b over 7. The left-hand side of this equation simplifies to 78.05 and the right-hand side of this equation simplifies to 73.99 plus b, because the 7 in the numerator cancels with the 7 in the denominator. Rearranging this equation such that b is the subject of the equation, giving us b equal to 78.05 minus 73.99. Simplifying gives us b equal to 4.06%. In question 516, it is stated that the projected total gross value for 2022 was 118,405 million US dollars. You have to write down this value using numerals. The value given written as numerals is this. Question 5.2 consists of 4 finance questions designed to assess your understanding of exchange rates. It is stated that Brazil has a trade relationship with a number of countries. Table 5 shows the value in billions of US dollars of imports and exports for Brazil with 6 countries. In question 5.1, you have to state the country with the smallest range between the imports and exports to Brazil. From the table, we determine that the country with the smallest range between the imports and the exports is Japan. In question 5.2, you have to identify the weakest currency against the Brazilian real. The weakest currency against the Brazilian real is the South African rand. We get 1 real for every 3,2026 rand. In question 5.3, you have to calculate the exchange rate between the euro and the South African rand in the form of 1 euro equals a rand value. From the table, 1 euro equals 5,2379 Brazilian real and 1 Brazilian real equals 3,2026 rand. So 1 euro equals 5,2379 multiplied by 3,2026 rand, and this equals 16 rand 77 cents. This means that 1 euro equals 16 rand 77 cents. In question 5.4, it is stated that Ludwig, a German citizen, stated that the difference between the United States imports and exports to Brazil is more than 7,600 million euros. You have to verify showing all calculation whether his statement is valid. From table 5, the imports from the United States is given as 29,72 billion US dollars, while the exports to the United States is 21,62 billion US dollars. The difference between the values of the imports and exports is 29,72 billion minus 21,62 billion, and this equals 8,1 billion US dollars. Since 1 US dollar equals 4,9642 Brazilian real, 8,1 billion US dollars equals 8,1 billion multiplied by 4,9642 Brazilian reals, and this equals 40,21002 billion reals. Now since 1 euro equals 5,2379 Brazilian reals, 40,21002 billion reals equals 40,21002 billion divided by 5,2379, and this equals 7,676744497 billion euros. Since there are 1,000 millions in 1 billion, 7,676744497 billion euros equals 7,676744497 multiplied by 1,000, and this equals 7,676,74497 million euros. Since this value is more than the stated 7,600 million euros, we have to conclude that the statement is valid. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and if you found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe for more videos like this. And you can check out this video next.